Hey there, in this video I'm going to show you how you can increase by 3x your reply rate of your cold email campaigns by creating a personalized asset with AI for every one of your leads. So let's jump right into it. Right, so this is the make automation that I'm talking about. This basically goes from a list of leads that has a bunch of data on their website, their personal accounts, to a new column in the list of leads that contains the link to a personalized asset that AI creates for us automatically for all our leads that serves as a lead magnet and increases the probability that this lead actually opens that email because we're giving it for free. So now my intent is to walk you through this automation from head to toe, and as you can see here, the trigger is searching for certain rows in my Google Sheets. So intentionally for this demo, I'm just gonna use a limited amount of these leads that I have. I'm gonna go for 5, and right after that I have a filter, and so I'm filtering by the website. So if it exists, then we're gonna go through the automation, because in the next node or module I'm gonna get that website info by making an HTTP request to that website, and after this node is done, then we're gonna parse that information, because the result or the output of this is just a bunch of HTML unformatted data that we're gonna then parse into text and pass through AI. So after we have the text, the raw text, we're gonna give that to AI in order for it to give us some output. So you can see here that the first prompt that I give it is that it is a helpful, intelligent report writer assistant, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tell it what I want. So I'm telling it that its task is to take as input a bunch of unstructured information about a person's website and their LinkedIn profiles, and then convert this into a JSON object, which contains the website context and a person context. So it's gonna create kind of the full context that I'm gonna use in another node for it to give me the personalized asset. So this, basically I'm giving it the rules on how to write the website context and person context, and then passing it the script of the website that I did before, and then all the personal information that I took from their LinkedIn, which comes from my Excel file. So it has all the context, and it also has clear the output, what I want, and basically the result of this is just this JSON object, right? So right after this, after I take that JSON object from the previous node, I'm gonna input that into this new child completion node, and in this case I wanted to act as an intelligent expert cold email copywriter, because my lead magnet actually is a 3 email sequence that they can use to follow up on their unpaid invoices, because what I was selling for them was particularly related to that. So in this case, I'm telling it that it is going to receive this JSON object, which is from the previous node, and then I'm giving it some examples on follow-up sequences that it can output based on this information. I'm telling it that it has to be polished, that it has to be highly personalized to the lead information. That's why I am giving it context from the previous node, and basically the result of this has to be a title, a JSON object again, with a title for the document, and the full body of the document containing the 3 email sequence that I asked. So right after that, I'm gonna format that from Markdown to HTML, the result of the previous output, and then I'm gonna use 2 Google Docs notes in order to create the Google Doc. So the name is gonna be for first name, which I have from the trigger, late payment follow-up email pack, and then I'm gonna paste all the HTML content that I wanted. So this is just a very small paragraph that is included at the very top of the document to make it look like more personalized, and then the title, and then the HTML of the body, right? So this gives us a not very well formatted file or a document created in a Google Doc workspace, right? Then right after that, you can basically, after you have this document, you can just dump it into your Excel column, and it will be fine. But in this case, I wanted to make it look more valuable, so I wanted to format it in a nice way and change the font, change kind of the spacing in between lines, and all of that stuff, which is nice and increases the perceived value of this document. So I had to get another module which gets the content of this document. So I'm passing it the document ID from the previous node. So right after I get the content of the document, I have to iterate over the list of the content inside that document. This is weird because this module right here outputs the full content of the document but divided in a list by items, and each item has an index, right? So I have to iterate over all of the contents of the document, then aggregate them by the index, and then set a variable that finds the max end index, which is needed for my next API call, right? So first I'm iterating over the content list, then I am aggregating by the end index, and then I am setting a variable called max end index, which basically finds the max index inside that content list. Why did I do that? Because here in my next API call, which is the one that actually updates in a batch the font, the spacing, I think I did as well. I need that for the request, for the body of this API request. So this request is to this URL, which is part of the API documentation for Google Docs. I have to pass it the document that I wanna update. So this document ID is the document that I created previously in this previous node of Google Docs, and then in this body I have to change what I want. So the request of changes to this document is basically from the first item or the first line of the document to the last line. I wanna change the line spacing by 150 pixels, I think it is, and I wanna also, from the start part of the file to the end part of the file, I wanna change the text style to bricolage grotesque, and I want it to be kind of weighted. So that's how it works. It's a bit awful the way this API works, but that's why I had to do the whole maxed end index thing to be able to call this API and actually update the whole document and not just one part of it. And right after that, I just have to create a shareable link because this file, as it is created, is private, but I want to create a share link so I can share this with my lead. So I just create a share link using this Google Drive module, pass it the document ID, give it a reader role and anyone, and after that I just get the shareable link from the module, and then I map that into the column that I want to. I'm also mapping the previous link, the web link view that I get from the first from this when I create the document, but this is not accessible for my lead. I also mapped the document ID, which is not needed actually. The only link that you actually need is this share link that you create in this previous node right here. And that's basically the whole automation. So now I'm gonna run this automation for the first 5 items in my list and show you how it goes. So yeah, right here is running for the first item, and it's completed now. So you can see here that this first item has a shareable link, which is called for Shelby, which is the name of my leads, Shelby, late payment follow-up email sequence, and this is the email sequence, the full document that I'm sharing with this lead. Now let's see how it is going for the rest. I think for the most part, the nodes that take the longest are the AI nodes. The rest is pretty much fast. So you can see here the second one is created as well. This one is for Daryl, I don't know how to pronounce that. You can see here that this changed depending on the lead info, right? So you can see here that this is for Spire Homes, which is the company of this lead, and also the copy changed as well. So yeah, you can see here it is doing it one by one. In this case, probably you're gonna have to be careful with the OpenAI nodes because the OpenAI usually has limits, rate limits. So if you output or you run this for multiple leads very quick, you're gonna exceed that limit, and probably your automation is gonna fail, and you have to do it or just run it again. So save these leads, the one that already processed, to another sheet, and then process for the ones that you haven't processed. It's how it goes. So maybe you're gonna have to create a wait module in between these nodes or before, so you don't exceed rate limits for OpenAI. But yeah, so you can see here that this finished for the full 5 leads that I sent, and it created different shareable links for each and every one of them. And that's it. So hopefully you found this useful and that you can use this to increase your reply rate or even your open rate, because this link, a preview to this link is shown in your email when you send it. So probably if your subject line is good and also your initial copy is good, you buy yourself some time to actually pitch your prospects on your services. So this is really good. This actually increases open rate, this increases reply rate, this increases everything for you, and is a game changer for cold email these days. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. As I said, if you want help with any of this or setting up an automation like this, let me know. You have the in the description the link to my discovery calls. So that's it. See you in another video.